music does kind of two things. For one, it really focuses, and it kind of gets you in a zone where you can do the role play and you can focus on what's going on in the game. And on the other side, it kind of opens you up. For a long time in gaming, there has been this terrible controversy between art and video games, and people wanting to say video games are an art form, and that really ruffling a lot of feathers.
It does have a special place for me just because that's how I met my wife.
Aww.
Yeah. But
I think roleplay has the potential to become the next great art medium.
All the cool kids are LARPing with meth heads. Like, don't play WoW.
Welcome back to Scrollplay, the Elder Scrolls online role-playing show. I'm your host, the Human Floyd, and today we have a ton of news for you guys. I will be announcing the winner of the 60-day ESO time card soon, but first I have a few things to go over. Remember, you can always send your roleplay-related news to us at tinyurl.com/scrollplaynews. After that, we will have an interview with Fain, who is one of the leaders in the EUDC Mages Guild, and he also happens to be the leader of Stormhaven RP, the EUDC Roleplay Hub. So we'll definitely be talking about mage roleplay, and during the interview, we will have footage from Orsinium. Who else is excited about that bear mount? So before I announce the winner, I want to tell you guys about a couple of things. First off, some prominent members of the ESO RP community and myself have started a new website. It's called Roleplay Headquarters, and you can find it at rphq.org. We want it to be sort of a useful site for roleplayers to get resources, information, anything that they might need. We want to have lists of roleplay communities, dice rollers, stuff like that. We also want to have regular blogs, and we want to feature people who do art for people's roleplay characters. So if you're interested in joining us, you should send me an email at thehumanfloyd@gmail.com, because we're just starting to build our team, and we could use a lot more creative people to help us get the site running. Also, we're almost to 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, which is really exciting. In the grand tradition of YouTube, I'm going to have a Q&A once we reach 1,000 subscribers. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask me, it could be literally anything. Send me an email at thehumanfloyd@gmail.com, and maybe your question will make it into the Q&A video. And now the winner of the 60-day ESO time card is Joel Robinson. That's right, Joel did not actually guess what my job is, which the contest was based on this picture of my feet. Guess what my real-life job is. He didn't actually get it, but he got closer than anybody else, so he wins the 60-day time card. And in the future, I will be having another contest to see who can guess it, so maybe Joel's answer will give you a hint as to what my job is, since he was closer than anyone. So check it out on the screen here. We got a lot of good answers. My favorite was probably Poop Scooper. For the record, that's not poop on my feet, although that has happened in my job before. But some very good guesses, and some of the jobs you guys were saying, I was like, that might be a pretty cool job. Maybe I'll look into that. Now let's check on some news. In NA Megaserver North American Aldemary Dominion news, the citizens of the city of Arenthia faced a horrible enemy in the form of a horde of undead and Daedra. Luckily for the city and its denizens, a band of stout warriors were ready to face the wave of Daedra. A unit of Dominion soldiers, known as the Silverblades, stood fast, augmented by all local fighters called to Arenthia's defense. Reports of a massive Daedric Titan appearing have been confirmed. Though the battle raged for hours, the Dominion forces and their allies stood fast, and the city was saved. This month marks the anniversary of Queen Irene's coronation. All across the Dominion, the people are celebrating and toasting to Her Majesty's reign and the splendor it has brought the land. On the 10th of Frostfall, a magnificent celebration is expected to commence for all loyal citizens of the Dominion in honor of the Queen. Check the description for links to more information. The Thalmor Combat and Investigation Unit, known as the Merithic Eye, stationed outside of Eldenroot, recently put on a combat demonstration for any and all citizens of the Dominion to participate in and learn from. Discussions were held on the importance of knowing your own weaknesses as well as your enemies. The wise minds of the officers were equaled only by the strength of their soldiers, as sparring matches were held to showcase these lessons. Similar seminars can be attended every Sundas in the courtyard of the Altmary Embassy outside of the Dominion capital. The once bustling resort and so-called City of Pleasure, Pa-Alat, has seen better days. Since the beginning of the war, foreign guests have all but vanished, and local customers have marched off to fight for the Dominion. But that has recently changed, as Madame Scratchbelly has called for weekly celebrations of life itself. Walkers from all across Reaper's March and beyond have been in attendance, where there is food, drink, dancing, music, and other entertainment. To celebrate the Witches' Festival, all guests will be required to wear a mask or costume in the month of Frostfall. All across the Dominion, whispers have been uttered of a so-called dark market taking place in the underbellies of the land cities. It is said that goods, artifacts, and services can all be procured there. It is even rumored that Daedra worship is somehow involved. Soldiers and guardsmen of the Dominion, however, have denied such claims and advised the good-hearted people of our alliance to be wary of any suspicious behavior or dealings. In NADC news, a new ship has been sighted on the docks of Daggerfall. The Hotspur is a respected privateer vessel, and Captain Girodaro uses this front as a means of welcome into many ports of call. Once docked at various Daggerfall-friendly cities, her Stormwolves use underground connections to seek out potential targets for planned robberies, as well as accepting contracts for thefts, assassinations, smuggling, and most anything they can get money for. The Mages Guild in Wayrest has seen more activity lately, and it appears that further investigations into the ruins of Eroki are being held in Rivenspire. Wizard Solinar of Firsthold has additionally offered rewards for the return of any rare tomes, artifacts, or items of magical quality from the Imperial City to your local Mages Guild. House Gawadu has been rocked by recent events of late. Their beloved Baron, Robert Gawadunin, was beheaded by the henchmen of a vile necromancer, Octavia, who has become an enemy of the house. He left behind his pregnant wife, Baroness Melise Gawadunin. Countess Kristen Vekon was kidnapped and missing for several days before being rescued by her husband, Count Varric. Alarms have been sounded all across the countryside as the walls of Evamglade have been attacked by a small force of undead. It is still unclear who has sent these vile creatures to test the defenses of House Draconis, but members are growing suspicious that an evil vampire skilled in the arts of necromancy may be responsible. Also, Lord and Lady of the House have just returned from an unexpected trip to Skyrim, and have brought back a number of journals found in strongholds held by a now dead enemy. A map showing an unknown hidden location was revealed. A secret library with knowledge that once belonged to the now dead evil mage is now in the house's hands. Many members look forward to the new wealth of knowledge, but Kristol is worried that it may cause more harm than good. Zaza Riz, commander of the forces at arms, has seized all the books for further examination and study. Compass Corporation has experienced unsteady times in regards to leadership, though now the Mercenary Guild appears to be stable, still housed within Alclair Castle. A young mage, Amari, now leads the Compass, with others at her side, and the Mercs have started to gather jobs again. Amari has been traveling to all of the houses and has been leaving flyers in the major cities about the small mercenary company. Rumors say the Compass still prefers works in regards to hunting evil necromancers, Daedra, vampires, and werewolves. In NA Ebonheart Pact news, Hammer of Atmora, which is a companions guild based in the Rift, they're hosting their annual feast on the evening of 25th of Frostfall, that's October. All are welcome to join the companions for food, drink, and song at the Fallowstone Hall near Shore's Stone. On the 7th of Frostfall, when the Withered Tree Tavern was in full swing, a pair of giants and their group of attack saber cats disrupted the merriment, clubs and claws swinging. In the end, the defenders of the Withered Tree were able to bring down the giants. A tattered note was found impaled on one of the clubs, and appears to be the only clue as to the origin of the attack. A Khajiit named Zatani is holding the note and is working to see what she can learn from it. Rumors circulate around Windhelm about an Imperial swindler posing as a member of the Mages Guild. He led an unexpected group to see a dragon egg, which, needless to say, was a trap, and the group was said to be ambushed. Although they were able to fight off their assailants, the Imperial swindler escaped, and is now wanted in East March Hold. He is described as having long hair, a beard, and not speaking Cyrodiilic very well. A reward is held for his capture, dead or alive. A grand moot in Skyrim has been called by Clan Hearthfire, inviting all clans, companies, coalitions, bands, and whatever else to meet on Lordos the 17th of Frostfall. The gathering is intended to serve as a formal meeting as well as a general celebration with food, drink, and games. In Morrowind, House Drez is holding a ball in Shadowstula. All Pact citizens are welcome to attend on the 11th of Sun's Dusk. That's November for you Earthlings. Mephal's Summoning Day is tomorrow. That's the 13th of Frostfall. All people from Daggerfall, Dominion, and Pact lands are welcome to gather and worship the Web Spinner. Check out the link in the description for more info. The Oasis of the Ashlands Tea Shop is now open. This is one that I myself have really been wanting to attend but haven't had time yet. It's open every Morndos at 7 Ebonheart Standard Time, that's Eastern Standard Time, and upon request. If you want to know more or just want tea at a different time, you can message at Renlore or check out the link in the description. On to EU news, and we're going to start with the Aldemary Dominion. I'm really excited that we finally have an EU AD news correspondent, and it sounds like there's a lot going on as far as the roleplay community goes over there. First off, the Golden Flame, who are a tight-knit group of mercenaries stalking Daedra in the names of the Divines, have recently branched out into Dominion lands, and they're ready to take any contract to help make Nirn safer. The Heralds of Aegea is a guild dedicated to the pursuit of knowledge and the examination of lore that exists on Nirn. This group started with the Khajiit Shaikh, as well as a few individuals who wish to work in peace with no interest in the Three Banners War. The Va Kajdar are a Khajiit caravan and their allies seeking to make their mark on Tamriel and make profit. Involved in trade and skooma smuggling, these cunning caravanners are seeking ties to other traders, thieves, and assassins in Tamriel. No job is too small, no task too menial. They follow the teachings of their Khajiit gods. Rajin the thief, Kanarthi the matron of thieves, and Srendar the merciful runt. Several Thalmor agents have been seen moving throughout the Bandari trading post, though they seem to have little interest in thieves or smugglers that usually populate the area. Those deemed to be potentially worthy of aiding them have heard that the pact has been sending necromancers to Dominion lands. Several caravans have been attacked and pillaged, and travelers are advised to steer clear of parts of northern Malabal Tor. The zealous lieutenant of the Golden Flame, Zaki Ra, offers a chance to indulge in Khajiit literary tradition and myth, and to gain understanding of the Catfolk's faith. Contact @Pucci41 for details. The village of South Point requires your aid. The Dominion forces, mercenaries, and citizens have come together to aid those in need quite regularly. From investigating strange occurrences to helping the needy, all assistance is appreciated. Gather your forces and set out for the glory of the Dominion. Check out the description in the link for more info. In EU Daggerfall news brought to you by Fain, the well-respected guildmaster of the Wayrest Mages Guild, Antioch Lanric, was revealed to be a necromancer and high-ranking member of the Worm Cult recently. After suspicions were cast on him by some members of the Wayrest Mages Guild, a unit of Lion Guard attempted to arrest him for questioning. However, the leader of the local Lamp Knights, Oin Phaleon, placed his Lamp Knights in a protective line in front of Lanric to prevent him from being arrested until the Lion Guard could explain their reasons for their accusations. This gave time for Lanric to escape through a portal and sparked a battle between the Lamp Knights and the Lion Guard, in which several people, including Sir Robert de Paravon, captain of the Lion Guard unit, the Black Lions, was gravely injured. Oin Phaleon was arrested to stand trial. But in the meantime, the Worm Cult went ahead with their grave plot to summon the Daedric Titan Nazakar to wreak havoc upon Stormhaven. Despite the efforts of the Lion Guard, Fighters, Mages Guild, Centuria Vindica, and the Golden Flame, the Titan was summoned and attacked Wayrest. It was at that time that the Worm Cult leader sucked the life out of Sir Clovius Audrian of the Lion Guard and condemned his soul to Cold Harbor. The heroes wounded the villain severely, but he escaped, leaving them to deal with the Titan. It was a long and difficult battle, but eventually the Titan was defeated. The events have left the Mages Guild in a state of complete administrative disarray. Investigations are taking place to determine the full extent and influence of Lanric's corruption, and the senior magisters are doing all they can to guarantee the smooth and regular functioning of the guild hall, and to assuage any suspicions the public might have against them. Thank you so much to my correspondents for gathering all of that awesome news for us. If you have any upcoming plot lines, events, storylines, anything like that, you should get a hold of us. You can post on tinyurl.com/scrollplaynews. Now let's hear from Fain, who also happens to be the EU-DC correspondent. You can learn a little bit more about his character by checking out the previous Character Corner. And be sure to answer the character exercise, because you might get your answer read off in the next episode of the Character Corner. For more about Fainn's roleplay history, a discussion on solo roleplay, and extra information on some of the awesome plotlines happening in EU-DC, click here. Welcome back to the show, Feynn. It's good to have you again.
Thank you. It's very nice being back.
You're very active on the EU Daggerfall Covenant side, but before we get into all of that, I just want to ask you how you got started role-playing in the first place.
Well, I started with single-player roleplay. So I started role-playing with Oblivion, I'm going to say, probably. Unless I started earlier than that, I can't remember. But I think I started with Oblivion. I would go on the unofficial Elder Scrolls pages website, and there were some role-playing ideas there. And the game really calls for roleplay because it's so immersive. So that's how I started. Then I first learned about the possibility of interactive roleplay in another MMO, which was Star Trek Online.
Oh, nice.
But even then, it was very casual roleplay. I was not a member of any role-playing guild. I just usually went to, Quark's bar on Deep Space Nine and have a chat with somebody. And then, of course, when ESO came out, when I heard about ESO, I thought, well, it's fantastic. I can finally actually roleplay in my favorite game, because, to be fair, Elder Scrolls is my favorite setting in terms of games. But I can do so with more people, so that was fantastic.
What happened next? How did you end up becoming sort of this pillar of the DC community?
That's a very good question to which I have no answer. How did it happen?
What have I done with my life?
What have I done? I joined Stormhaven RP, so that was my first step to start role-playing in the Daggerfall Covenant. My character already had his backstory, because at first, even though I didn't have a role-playing community to play with, I started role-playing ESO as a single-player game, as I've done for all the other Elder Scrolls games. I had to change his backstory a bit. I had to edit a few things out, like not being a soul-shriven and all that. And then, I started looking for other mages, because Salagari is a member of the Mages Guild. At the time, there was no Mages Guild in place, so got together with other players and we formed a Mages Guild. And the Mages Guild was very successful. So I think that was one of the things that put me out there very prominently in the roleplay community, the fact that the Mages Guild was going so well. And also that many people from the rest of the community wanted to interact with Mages Guild. So that worked very well. Then I just started doing some roleplay with the former leader of Stormhaven RP. And I would chat with her, and we became friends. I would ask her questions about roleplay sometimes. She's the one who explained to me about dice rolls, for example. At some point, she decided that they needed more officers, so she asked me to become an officer of Storm RP. I did so. And then finally, when she left the game, other officers also left the game at that point, so she asked me if I was willing to take over the leadership. So that's how it happened.
And Storm RP, the in-game guild, is sort of like the big community guild for EU DC, right? Like pretty much every role player is in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Except for the French and German.
Yeah.
I tried to get them on board, but
Yeah, I mean, it'd be difficult if everybody was speaking a different language in guild chat. You guys started a Mages Guild, which is really cool because aside from one group in NADC that has also done a little bit of stuff in NAEP, we actually don't really see much of that on the NA Megaserver. So I guess I just want to know more about it. Like, what kind of storylines come from Mages Guild roleplay? What kind of things can people expect when they interact with you guys? What's your involvement in the community? That kind of stuff.
We actually didn't start the Mages Guild. We sort of rebuilt it because there was a Mages Guild already, which was called the Ware's Arcane Conclave. But then members of that guild tend to leave the game. Some of them went back to WoW or other games. So when I arrived in Ware's, there was no Mages Guild at that point, and I was very disappointed because there was one of the things I was very much looking forward to. I started looking around, talking with people, also, interacting with people on forums. And then I met Antioch, who is also another very active role player in DC. So we talked about it. He was also interested in the concept. And so we decided to recreate it. He actually made the guild. And also he started writing the forums, posts about advertising the guild and its activities. And so we started with the lecture night. That was really our main activity for a long time. So every week we would do a lecture on Wednesdays.
Nice.
And I think that's something that really helped the visibility of the Mages Guild. So that was Antioch's idea. It was very good. And then, of course, it expanded from there. We have created some storylines ourselves, but I think in most cases we've actually been part of other people's storylines.
Oh, cool.
Simply because the Mages Guild is a service in a sense. It's there. It's one of the features of the setting, of the fantasy setting, of the Elder Scrolls, of the lore. It's very nice for a character, for example, the adventurers go on delving in some dungeon and they find some arcane artifact. What do you do with it? You take it to the Mages Guild. You have it analyzed. It's actually happened. Like there was a cultist who had a book which came from Apocrypha and was used as a means of Daedric influence. And so these characters came to the Mages Guild to ask for our help, and that's how I got involved in that plot line.
Nice.
So these sort of things, yeah. And also in larger community events, like for example, right now there's an event called Stormhaven's Demise, which is about a worm cult activity in Stormhaven trying to find artifacts to summon a big titan.
Oh.
So lots of people are trying to help to prevent the worm cult from achieving this goal, and the Mages Guild are part of the effort.
That's cool. I really like it because that just seems so appropriate for the Mages Guild to just kind of like, we're here doing our research, doing our magic, and if you have something for us that's interesting, you should come to us, and we offer services, and that's very cool because that's pretty much exactly what the Mages Guild should be.
Exactly. We also create storylines. So, for example, there could be a Mages Guild expedition.
Sure.
And in that case, we're very open to hiring help. We hire bodyguards and contractors and stuff. Yeah. No, we're definitely a very open guild in this sense. As most of the community, I would say. There is not very much in terms of, there's not much sort of closed guild role play.
Nice. That's cool. So what are some of the common themes in roleplay in EUDC? It sounds like, at least for the Mages Guild, intrigue is one of them.
Yeah, well, definitely intrigue is one of them, also because of some characters who are involved in the Mages Guild, but I won't say more to avoid spoilers. Mm-hmm. But yes, there's definitely intrigue is one of them. But not only. There's also research going on as well. The Mages Guild, we do lectures, we do examinations as well. We have our journeyman exams. Oh. It's very much lore-based, so we tend to build on the lore and explore the lore together in an in-character way, which I think is a lot of fun. Exploration. There's also exploration. And then, yes, of course, there is fighting. There are, of course, the usual enemies. That's also in the Fighters Guild, for example, which, you would expect for the Fighters Guild. So, cultists, Daedra, necromancers, all these sorts of enemies. Bandits also, all these sorts of things. But usually, at least in the events that I have run, I've always tried to add a kind of a twist, to those events. Yeah. So, for example, there was a Fighters Guild event, which I planned, although I did not DM it myself. I just had the main idea and then I let somebody else in the Fighters Guild do it, which was rescuing a nun who had been kidnapped. And then the group of fighters, they found the location. They had to find clues about the location. So, and then they finally found the hiding place of this bandit band. They had actually killed the gang before. So once they got there was just the leader, the boss. And I was playing the boss. I made a character to play the boss. But the twist was that once they got there, they found that the boss had a wife and she was pregnant and gave birth. So the reason why he had the nun kidnapped was because Nun was a healer. And so she was helping his wife to give birth. And then that kind of put the players in a moral dilemma. So what do we do? Do we fight the boss? Do we try to negotiate with the boss? And then in the end, they decided to spare his life. And they even helped him to pretend that he was dead, because of course he had a very sizable bounty on his head. So by deciding to do that, they also got much less gold. They also lost money. And then I actually went and made that character a role-playable character. So,
oh, nice.
So he started as an NPC just as a... Then somebody was like, why not just start role-play it? I'm like, okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It sounds like EU players are a little nicer than NA players, because I feel like that bandit would have died. Somebody would have killed him. So if somebody wants to get involved, they could go to stormrp.engine.com. I'm sure they could find you guys in-game.
Absolutely. Whereas is our main hub. So as long as they are in the right phase, they're probably going to find people role-playing around. Or otherwise, they can just contact me or one of the officers, or again, leave a message on the forum on the website. The shout box is usable by anyone. So.
Oh, cool. Perfect. Well, I'm going to spam it then.
Good.
All right, I have one last question for you, Fain. If you were Magnus, what would you do to change about ESO, the game itself?
Yeah, that'd be very nice, being the architect. I would make it all cross-faction, if I could.
Nice.
So that's definitely one thing. I'd make one Megaserver, because that really would be a big...
That would be crazy.
Yes, that would be crazy, but it would be fantastic.
There's so many people I want to roleplay with on EU.
And imagine, roleplay 24/7. I got 24 hours a day, because it spans the whole globe. The fact that each faction, is sort of relegated to its own areas, and even cross-faction areas are actually not, because they're all faced a faction. In some games, in some other MMOs which I played, like Star Trek Online, for example, one nice feature was allowing players to create their own quests.
That would be so useful for all the DMs.
You could actually create your dungeon.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
You can make your own dungeon, and then with your own mobs, which could be, for example, non-aggressive mobs or something,
Oh, yeah.
It would just be there for show, just to say, there's a mob there, but you don't actually have to fight it. That'd be fantastic for DMing and for events. So that's a feature that would be really great to see.
Definitely. All right. Well, thank you so much for the interview. Is there any last things that you would like to say to our viewers?
Well, just keep role-playing. It's a much better way of enjoying the game, I think.
Without a doubt. Yep, much deeper.
Exactly, especially for a game like Elder Scrolls, which has such a deep lore. You can really enjoy it a lot more.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for coming on the show, Fain.
Thank you so much. It's always nice talking to you.
Yeah, and I will see you again soon, I'm sure.
I look forward to it.
Fain's always so great to interview because he's always so cheerful. I feel like we could learn a lot from him on that. But let us know if you guys have any insights on the topics we discussed, or if you're from EUDC, tell us about some of the cool things that you're doing. That's it for our episode. Next Monday, we'll have a character corner with an ambitious Hlalu, and the Monday after that, the next Scrollplay will be released with an interview with Malfunction about vampire roleplay. Vampire roleplay is a pretty controversial topic, and there's a lot of things that we could talk about, so if you have any suggestions about what we should talk about, definitely post them in the comments below. Keep roleplaying. Peace.
Yeah, we've been talking about putting together a tabletop group out here for a while, but people.